A common question I receive from my viewers is this: where do I find the best real estate deal in Florida? Well, folks, that's an easy one for me to answer. All right, my answer is this: at the tax defaulted property auction. 67 counties in the state of Florida will have tax delinquent property auctions. That's where you want to be. So let me give you an example about a rural county just north of Tampa, Florida. All right, we're going to talk about a student by the name of Nolvin. Okay, now he took a $9,000 investment, $9,100, and it made it into over $100,000. So just stay with me and I'll just show you the step-by-step process. Here's a 30-year-old guy. For a short period of time, he attended classes, learned how to do this. He wanted to find the best deals. He learned in Florida. He went to California. He traveled around. I'll tell you more about that. But here's why it worked for him. You need to know that first. What advice would you give these people in, say, 2 minutes that they should do? They're here now. What should they do next?
Well, definitely sign up for coaching. I mean, it's like anywhere that you go if you really want to make it big,
I didn't even pay him for this. I didn't. These are hundreds. He had an open mind. He was receptive to the information that we were giving him. And folks, I'm going to give you some ideas about what he was doing and what I was talking about. So this is a guy that grew up in Honduras. His English isn't very good, but I can tell you right now, his bank account is very good. It's very full. He immigrated about 5 years ago. Now, it didn't take him long to figure out that he was going to buy real estate properties. He wasn't going to get brand new real estate property and make deals. What he did figure out is he knew how to work with his hands if he had to. So he started looking at used and abused tax defaulted property. He said, if I had to fix them, I could do it myself. But if I could sell it, I can do that too. So after about a half a dozen auctions, he ended up in California. He lived here in Florida, traveled to California, and he went to some big auctions in like Riverside. Now, Riverside's a county just south of Los Angeles. My goodness, 4 million people live there. Guess what? Hundreds of properties at auction. Well, my deal is buy it low, sell it low. Well, he looked and he looked and he looked. He spent days there, couldn't find what he wanted. So back to Florida he came. Well, guess what? He found a property just north in a small county, just north of Tampa.
So this property is the property I got at the auction for $9,100. So this property, when I was doing the research, all you could see was trees. I mean, if you go on Google Maps, you were able to see trees only. If you go on Zillow, there was nothing but trees. So when I was doing my research and I went by all of these different addresses, I saw that there was actually a house. And I think that was the main reason why, a lot of people just overlooked it.
Hey, Ted, good to see you again. Hey, listen, do I have this right? Did I hear this right? You have a student who actually bought a piece of property for $9,000?
It's kind of hard to believe, but he walked into this property by looking and researching and paying attention to what was going on to auctions. And I'm telling you, he made a bundle on this deal. Now, the county public records, most people never go, but he did just what he was told in the class. Go to the records, look up the property, find out what the thing could really be worth, because there's going to be a tax assessed value. You could find that out there. You could also find that out on the auction list. But a lot of people don't. They just look at the list and they go down there and start bidding. So one of the biggest mistakes that bidders make is they don't evaluate the condition of the property. But not Nolvin. He traveled all the way to California. Okay, when he came back, he knew he had to look at those properties. So what he did is he went out and looked at the property. Now, a lot of clients don't even look at the property. They just go down there and start bidding. So a major mistake is they want to buy low, you get the idea, and they want to sell it and make some money, but they don't want to take the time to go figure out what's their exit strategy. Well, Nolvin figured out his exit strategy before he ever bought it. He realized that the other bidders weren't doing that, because when he went out and looked around, there wasn't a lot of people looking around because the property didn't look too pretty.
Well, so how did Nolvin come to even discover this property that's like one of the best real estate deals you ever seen?
Well, this is a great deal. There's no doubt about that. But the auction list is always produced by the county. They put it on the county website. Anybody can get it, or you can go and get it in the newspaper. And sometimes when you go to the county site, they'll have pictures of the structure even, but you need to go look at it. And once you know the property number, you can go on the satellite. And a lot of people just are so lazy, they just want to go on the satellite and look at it and say, oh, I want that one. They're looking for a country club property for 10 cents on the dollar. Well, Paul, that's not going to happen. This property did not look too pretty. It was surrounded with trees on all sides of it. So the satellite picture just showed a big clump of trees, but there was a property there. The property was not in great condition, but it was not a junker either. The bones were good. All right, so what did he plan to do? Well, he wanted to head down to the auction. When he got to the auction, then he knew that he had done all the right things because he had done his research at the county. He did his research by going out and looking at it, okay? And then he noticed that there was very timid bidding going on. In other words, the auction started at like $5,000, and the next bid was $5,100, $200, $300. In other words, these people weren't very confident. They weren't bidding $5,000, $10,000. They were thinking this was just a junker property. But Nolvin had done his homework, and he realized that here was his property. It was all surrounded by trees, so you couldn't see very much of it. But he knew that the bones were good because he went out there and walked around. He said, nothing wrong with this property. Just needs a lot of cleanup. And then some of this concrete and some of these things around it need to be fixed. But it wasn't a major job to fix this property, but it was a major job to clean it up. So he did his homework, and he realized used and abused was going to be okay. Just needed a big cleanup. But the best part of the deal is this is going to be a property that he's already been to the county records and knows the tax assessor says it's worth $100,000. He's gone out and he talked to brokers, find out it was worth $90,000, $100,000, maybe $120,000. And his bid now was $9,100 for this property. And guess what? He ended up with that property. But what did he have to do then? He had to clean it up.
Okay, so after he did that basic cleanup, Ted, then what happened? What happened next?
Well, once he had cleaned the property up, he did even more comparisons. By that I mean, he asked other brokers to come and take a look. What was his property really worth? So he knew that he'd only spent $9,100 and it was probably worth $100,000. Well, it turned out brokers started to tell him that the property would be easy to sell at $125,000 or $150,000 now that it looks so good. So here, you can figure out the fourth grade math. There's a lot of difference between $125,000 and $9,100. So that's where he was. All right, so the key to the business is your exit strategy. Now, anybody can buy a property. Anybody can buy. It takes an educated, trained person to become a seller and use the right exit strategy so you go home with the most money. Nolvin did not follow my normal exit strategy, which is buy low and sell low. He went and got the brokers and they looked at it and they found out it was worth a huge amount of money. So he didn't use my strategy. Now, most investors don't realize the main advantage that you have in real estate is you can market a property and you can know what your exit strategy is when you're buying. If you do that, you're going to use media. Media is going to cause a lot of people to come to that property. How do you do that? Use Craigslist, use a multiple listing service, use eBay, use Zillow. In his case, Facebook Marketplace brought a lot of people. The electronic sites brought a lot of people to visit his property. Unfortunately, most sellers don't have enough savvy about marketing, and it's the biggest blunder they make. They might put a little sign or they might do a little thing in the newspaper, but you've got to do all of the media and let as many people as possible know what you're really looking for is you're looking for eager buyers. And that's what Nolvin was able to do, is bring eager buyers to that property. When you bring eager buyers, the whole ball game changes.
Well, if he didn't follow your strategy, your exit strategy, what did Nolvin do exactly?
What Nolvin did was the smart thing. He thought about it, then he used all the things I just talked about, and he generated eager buyers. I mean, he generated so many eager buyers that when he had an open house, 138 people followed him through that house. 138. So what do you think happened then? They were giving him cash offers. They give him lowball offers. That gave him the idea that he learned in one of our classes. Why not offer to do an installment sale? Why would you do an installment sale? Because installment sale, he could sign someone up right now They didn't have to go get an appraisal. They didn't have to do a home inspection. Didn't have to get a bank approval. They could get the property sold now, not 2 weeks from now. They could get the property sold now. So most brokers and people like that, they want to do a very traditional way to sell real estate. Nolvin figured out, let's use a contract of sale. He had a whole crowd of people. Guess what? He had more than one offer.
So what was the advantage to Nolvin using installment sales instead of just selling?
Well, the installment sale opens up a whole new market. You see, about 25% of the people that want to buy a house, they can't qualify for a loan. They're rejected by the bank. Those people are rejected not because they're bad people. They're rejected because they might not earn enough. Maybe they've had a divorce. Many of them have poor credit scores, poor FICO scores. So that opens up a whole new market of people that want to buy. Those people will sometimes pay more and are more than happy to pay you a higher interest rate so you can make even more money. So Nolvin has already figured out he's got a property at the right price. He's going to make a nice profit when he buys it, but better than that, he can make an additional profit on the financing. So to all those people that were rejected at the bank, when people are rejected at the bank, they're down and out. They don't want to be that. There's people that don't want to wait for appraisals. There's people that don't want to wait for home inspection. People want to make a deal today because they want to take care of their family. So he wants to take care of that. So he's going to make his $100,000 in profit. And on top of that, he's going to make money on the financing. He sat down and figured out how to make a little deal, a big one in terms of money.
That is really an amazing story, Ted. Listen, if any of you folks are watching this and are wondering maybe some more details about how Nolvin pulled off this fantastic deal, just leave your question in the comments section below. Ted will answer it. And while you're down there, be sure to give this a thumbs up, and why not join Ted's channel?
Well, I can help you a lot. These auctions are taking place all across the nation. The best way to find out is to go to auctions in your state, in your county. All right, how are you going to know where the auctions take place? Well, right below me as I'm talking with a cursor, you can move the cursor around. It will now show you how many auctions are going to take place in the next 60 days in that state. So this auction calendar is always updating. When it updates, so you'll know how many auctions are going to take place and how many properties. And then you can go to that state and you can then find out the details in each one of those properties. It's all taking place right below me right now.
You'll find the link right in the description, folks. Click on it and enjoy.